an internship there, and afterwards, to be honest, kind of had a hard time finding a job after college. So sent out a bunch of resumes, and I ended up getting a job selling advertising in a small newspaper. Does anybody know where Broken Bow's at? Yeah? Okay, got a few there. So the Custer County Chief. I did advertising sales for the chief. Was there about 6 months and moved to Grand Island and worked for the Grand Island Independent doing advertising sales for the newspaper. Was there for about a year and then moved on to the Omaha World Herald. Got a job doing advertising sales there for the World Herald. So I was there for about a year and a half, and the job was okay, the people were great, but I just knew that I wanted more. I wanted something different. I wanted, I don't know what, I didn't know what it was, I just wanted something different. So my wife and I, my oldest daughter at the time was about 4 months old. We decided we were going to move back, and I always kind of knew that I wanted to come back to Kearney. So we moved back here, took a job with a financial firm, was going to be a financial advisor here in town, started taking the test for that. We got moved, and as I was studying, the gentleman that hired me called me and said, hey, let's get together for coffee. I didn't think this sounded good, and I was right. He said, well, I actually just got laid off, but why don't you go up to this other financial firm and see if you can get hired up there. So I went up there and talked to them. The guy that owns the place says, I don't have the room or the budget to bring anybody else on. So I had paid roughly around $600 for tests to get Series 6 license and life and health license, and had a 4-month-old baby at home. My wife was working, she's a nurse, she was working in Grand Island at the time, and I kind of left there wondering what I was going to do next. I had no idea. So I sent out resumes. It was a pretty discouraging time, but was able to, there was a job that came up to work in an insurance agency here in town. And I did not want to send in that resume, but I was really just kind of searching for anything that I could. I needed to bring money home, we needed to put food on the table, and it just needed to be done. So sent in the resume, got called for an interview, went and did the first one, got called back for a second, and ended up getting the job at a state farm agency here in town. So what turned out to be something I didn't really want to do was really the best thing that could have happened to me. I worked for that agency for about 5 years, and it was a great, there was 3 of us in the office, small business. The agent I worked for was amazing, taught me a ton, and sorry, I gotta go out here. This is driving me nuts. I'm gonna walk around a little bit. So the agent that I worked for was great, and I kind of gained a new perspective about the insurance industry. Before, I hated insurance. I didn't understand it. I thought it cost a lot of money, it was complicated, and I didn't know really what you would ever do for it, or do with it. But when I was in that agency, it kind of changed my perspective on what the industry could be. And while I was there...
Brian, would you mind grabbing the microphone?
Oh, sure.
And if you just kind of hold that in front of you, that should...
Sure.
Sorry, I know.
No, that's fine.
We're trying.
Is this better, Ken?
Yep, it will.
Okay, there we go. So when I was there, I thought, you know what? I think maybe the insurance industry's got a bad rap. And I think that there's a lot of good people that work in this industry, and there's really a way where you can help people and make it so that their experience isn't that bad. So the 3 of us in this agency, I think at one point, we were in the top 10 of all State Farm agents across the country, which I think at the time there was about 17,000 State Farm agents. And so we worked really well. I'm going to go back over here. I'm not used to wearing my mask. Can you guys still hear me okay? Yeah. So we worked really well together. And after being there for 5 years with one company, one insurance company, I had really kind of reached the peak of what I was going to learn and what I could do both financially, and there just wasn't a lot of opportunity to do other things I wanted to do. And so I made the decision to go out on my own, with another captive insurance agency, and I'll kind of explain the difference between captive and independent agents here in a second. But essentially, captive agency, I'm working with one company, but I'm going out on my own, and I'm starting scratch. So as a scratch insurance agent, you turn the door on day one, open it up. There's no insurance policies on the books. There's no income coming in. There's really nothing. And you have to go out and kill it and drag it home and make your own way. So I had done training for this for 5 weeks, 4 weeks in Denver and 1 week in Chicago, and then just a couple weeks getting the office ready, and got started. So by this time, we had a 6-year-old, 5-year-old actually, and a 2-year-old at home, and I'm starting an independent insurance agency with no income coming in. So it was a little bit stressful, to say the least. And about 10 months into that venture, I realized that it wasn't going to work. There are certain numbers that you have to hit as an insurance agent, what was called validation. I validated my first 6 months, and I realized that I had about 2 months left and it just wasn't going to happen. The numbers were not going to be there that I needed, and so I had to make a really tough decision, what I was going to do next. I thought about going back and working for the agent I worked for before. I thought about taking a new job completely, but ultimately what I decided to do was open up as an independent insurance agent. And so the reason I did that is because I thought, well, as an independent agent, I work with a lot of different insurance companies, not just one, and there's more opportunities to help people out. So closed the door one day as a prior agent with the company I was at before, and open up the next day, starting all over from scratch again as an independent agent. And that was February 1st of 2012 that happened, and it's been the best decision that I've made in a long time, but ever really. But there was a lot of sleepless nights leading up to that point. I had to invest a little over $12,000 to join the group that I did, to be part of this, to be an independent agent. This group is designed to help you get contracts faster with insurance companies and things like that. I'm not going to bore you with the specifics there, but companies aren't necessarily going to give a contract right business with a brand new insurance agent that they don't know if he's going to be in there or not in there, or what he's going to be doing. So anyway, it was a big investment for me, and I had to make it work. And I can say, you know, over 8 years later, it's been a great decision for me, and one that there's been a lot of mistakes made along the way, both financially and otherwise, but there's a lot of freedom with it.